can't talk about. It's a lot of I hate to use the word politics that puts a negative, connotation on things, but there is a certain standard that you have to bear being a service member.
Gotcha.
And so I think the most surprising thing, good and bad, good is you get a lot of respect before you say anything. People just assume the best of you.
Got it.
In uniform.
Yeah.
And that's been very humbling.
Yeah.
It's like I grew up where it was the opposite.
Yes, I do know. I do know.
And it's just like it breaks racial barriers, it breaks culture barriers, religious barriers. When a civilian sees a service member, honor, loyalty, dependent, right? And dependability, sorry. And I'm like, wow, such a great tool to be able to use. And me being a believer,
right?
That's like a direct bridge to be able to speak into people's lives.
Right.
I would say the hardest thing is just getting through the corporate ladder to make change.
What kind of change are you trying to make?
So just like, I wouldn't say change. I would say additions.
Okay.
I think that's the best way to say it.
Additions to?
Music,
okay.
and like different ideas, whether it's like, hey, let's perform here. Let's go do this show. Let's do this. Well, can't do that because certain things come off as endorsement. It's very business. And like you have to kind of learn the rules and guidelines of the Army to be able to maneuver and to be creative while you're in the organization.
Okay, so let's back up for a second. What was the Army's intent of these roles?
Yeah.
Like as presented to you when you went into the process for it, what was their intention? Why even launch and have 2 rappers in the Army? What was the intent?
Yeah, I mean, from what I know is that they wanted to expand the brand of music. They've always, at least from the military standpoint, there's music in all branches. And so it's just another way to relate to people, to the younger generation, to a diverse demographic. It's like, you got classical, and we have some amazing musicians. I mean, ultra talented.
Seen bands over the years, absolutely.
Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, we've captured that audience that we were reaching for initially. Now we want to get the younger kids. We want to have them involved to be able to find their own identity within us. And so rap music has been doing that forever.
Absolutely.
And so I think that was the goal. A lot of people like to say, oh, it's recruitment. Everything is not recruitment. Some things are just relatability.
And retention, too, right? And enrichment.
Yes.
And
diversity.
And diversity and relatability to the brand. So when you went through the process, I can't recall, was it a competition, so to speak?
Yes, you can pretty much say that because 120 to 150 people submitted.
Right.
Yeah.
And then how did it work? Did they call you in to do live sessions after that, or how'd the process work?
Yeah, so let's see, and rewind. So found out about the job from my previous boss at West Virginia University, Dr. Scott Tobias. And he is a musical director in a national band association. Okay. So he gets ads, advertisements, job placements, opportunities for students all the time.
Right.
That came up, seen the ad, Army wanted a rapper. Pretty much you had to submit video of you introducing yourself, what you're about, why you should be considered, all that stuff. Music videos, some songs, and did we need recommendations? I can't remember if we had to get recommendations too, but all of that had to be sent in as your initial packet.
Gotcha.
And then after that, they selected, I think maybe 25 out of the 100 or so to then submit something else.
Got it.
Then they invited, how many people did they invite? Oh man, I think it was 6.
Okay.
Right? And
out of 100 something, 6 finalists, so to speak, come in.
Yeah.
Okay.
6 finalists. And we had to sing the Star Spangled Banner. We had to sing My Country 'Tis of Thee with a choral group.
Okay.
We had to do a freestyle. We had to present a new song based on a topic they've given us the week before. We had to perform one of our own pieces and do an interview in front of the whole unit.
Gotcha.
Right? And we did all of that. They narrowed it down to 2, which was me and another guy, Nico. And they couldn't make a decision out of who to choose. So we was there for hours.
Okay.
The longest deliberation they have ever had, they said.
Wow.
We was there from 9 in the morning, 9 at night.
Wow.
Waiting, figuring out, and it's like, we need y'all to do one more song. Do you have something? He did his, I did mine. Fast forward anyway, they end up giving it to us both because we advocated for one another through the process.
Wow.
And yeah.
Look at that. Look at that. Okay, so then you get the gig, you're giddy, you're excited, you call your wife, you drive home, you have a great meal, and then they say, okay, great, we're going to start like this.
Yeah.
And do your onboarding and whatnot. What was that like? Bet. I'm excited. And then they say, okay, all right, great, here's how it works.
Yeah. So then after that point, they offer you the job based upon the contingency that you pass your screenings.
Okay.
Right? So that is like the ASVAB. Don't ask me the acronym for that. I cannot remember. But the ASVAB pretty much to see what type of jobs you're qualified to do in the military.
Okay.
And then you have to go through a medical evaluation.
Okay.
See if you're in good health.
Wait a minute. What do you mean? What type of jobs you're qualified to do in the military? You're a rapper. You just competed to be a rapper. What do you mean?
It doesn't matter what you're going in to do. You have to take that general test to make sure, like,
that you can read and write.
That you can read and write. That they just want to see how high your IQ, your education is. Okay. To see what your potential is.
Okay, but it wouldn't be a disqualifier. Like, you're in.
I can't remember. Okay. I can't remember if I would.
Were you nervous at the time?
Nah, really, it was funny because I took the ASVAB coming straight off of work, and I was just like, yo, let's just get this over with. Okay. I didn't study or anything. Okay. I just didn't have time. I was a full adult, and it was like, I don't have time to study for this test.
Gotcha.
Came in. Did it. Got an 88 on it, which is pretty high. Yeah. And it was like, man, you could do any job you want to in the military. I was like, that's cool, but I'm only doing one. Right. And so that was that process.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So you do the medical evaluation. They check every cavity that you got. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Make sure you're healthy. You're not coming in with no illnesses or ailments that the military could be liable for. Right. And once you pass that, then they pretty much get you a swear-in time, and then they get you a basic training time, and that's when it all starts.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So then, to this point of the change you want to make, I assume then once you got in, they say to you, okay, do X number of songs and so on and so forth. Yeah. And creatively, did you have room, or was it confining?
It was both in certain circumstances.
Okay.
Because we're coming in new. We have fresh perspective on life. They have a certain directive of the program that they want to do. Okay. And they were, honestly, Nico and I had to lean on one another to help build a vision, really. A vision. Because they pulled the trigger on the idea, but we had to kind of help support a vision that was developing. Okay. Right. And so with that, we made songs. Some songs they liked, some songs they didn't, and we have different events that we have to prepare for. Okay. We'll make songs for that. And then along the way, which we'll talk about later, I was like, we're really making sync music because we're writing thematically. Gotcha. Right. And not really emotionally or logically. It's thematic. We have this event. We need to write and convey this type of emotion for that. We got this celebration. Well, how can we write to amplify this situation? Got it. Yeah. So, got it. Yeah. We finally got a rhythm.
So like we're celebrating Washington crossing, getting to Valley Forge. You going to write about that theme and what that meant to the country and all that kind of stuff.
Yep. And then make it creative, of course.
Make it creative. Do you get to express your faith in these songs, or you have to kind of pull back on that?
So I can't go into too much detail of that because I don't want to start a certain conversation, but
understood.
I would say that I've had opportunities to express my faith. Yeah. But obviously being in the military, you have to tread a line with that. That's just the brand, that's the organization. But I am explicitly a believer. People in the unit know it. You ask me, I'm gonna tell it. Right. There have been several interviews where the reporter or the journalist have done their research on me. They're like, "Oh, it says here you're a Christian." Yes, I am. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I will never deny it. But it's just more so of like steering the conversation and not making it solely about faith, because it's not. This is a misconception. People think the military is against faith. They're actually for it, but as a brand, they don't have control. They don't have control of the narrative when it comes to that. Okay. So let's say someone professes a certain religion, and something happens in the news. Now it's like, okay, now you allow this soldier to come out here and say blah 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 blah. This happened.
Right.
You're endorsing this, and you see how quickly that can turn into.
So they try to take almost agnostic, not agnostic,
I won't
but
say agnostic.
neutral. In other words, let's not beat our chest about it. Let's okay,
Yeah.
got it. All right. Should we have put you in like the Tony Tiger dark overshadow thing? Sure. I don't want to get you in trouble, bro.
Man, no, it's okay. I mean, I definitely have to be careful about, how I represent the Army on my personal side and stuff like that. But and I'll say this for the record, if anybody's listening, like the Army is not endorsing this, interview. This is Lamar Riddick with Holy Culture talking about Lamar Riddick's story. So just that's out there because people, they take what they want depending on their motives, So just to cover you and myself, like this is Lamar Riddick and Holy Culture.
That's a good call. That's a good call. So what? So interesting. So the creativity that you want to express, and when you talk about these changes, and I'll leave this changes thing alone. I assume you probably can't really talk about the changes you want to make, but in terms of Lamar Riddick, let's call it non-Army music. Where are you in terms of the music you're trying to create? Because I listened to, you and I have been rocking for a minute, man. So I was listening to some of the songs and live and Am I Alone and Only One. And to your point of having the right theme music in the Army, it definitely seems like you have a heightened sense of expressing emotions in your other songs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's one thing that I can credit to this experience. Excuse me, is learning to dig deep even when you don't want to.
Yeah.
That, I think that's been a big lesson because there's times where we need to write something and I'm like, bro, I have no connection to this.
Yeah.
Where can I pull from to make this authentic but relevant and relatable? Like that's a hard skill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's easy to just to write whatever.
Yeah.
Just to get a vibe going.
Yeah.
I'm past that. That's easy.
Right.
But now it's like, how do you put an emotion there to make each song its own world?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But anyway, yeah, man. In those songs, I was very intentional about it. It was like Only One that was for women.
Clearly.
To empower women. Am I Alone? That was for men, to empower men about loneliness and depression and mental health. And then we have Life is Very Endurable, which is Live, because we forsake life with all of the responsibilities and all the things that distract us from enjoying the simple things of life.
Yeah.
And that was just an encouragement piece.
So I'm with you on Only One, the dedication of women. And I remember us even talking about it. I remember talking about it before you dropped it. And I've definitely felt like it was a almost you being an ambassador for women and talking to them, but then also talking for them. Yeah. Right? That's what I felt when I listened to that one. But the other two, as I was listening to them, I had two reactions. One, yes, what you said for the audience, but I also felt like you were ministering to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see?
Okay.
That's why I love you, man. Because like you everybody doesn't get that. Everybody can't see from that. Yeah. It's almost like that third eye, but it's really spiritual. That's what it is. I
listened to the lyrics and I listened to everything going on in the song, and I'm like, I feel like my brother's crying for himself a little bit. Like he's ministering to himself. He's speaking to like being confined, wings kind of clipped a little bit. I felt that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's crazy you picked up on that because that was the initial root.
Okay.
And I was like, man, I got all this stuff that I feel, but I know I'm not the only one that feel it.
Yeah.
And I think me making this song, whether everything in this is relatable, somebody's gonna relate to something in this.
Yeah.
It may not be everything, but there's gonna be a lot of people that relate to a lot of different things in this song.
Right.
And that's why I released it.
So Am I Alone, you go through some different things. I think that's the one where you go through, yes, for sure, where you talk about leaving the job. Like I'm making the boss fat and happy. I'm supposed to clock out at 5, and I'm leaving at 4. I'm breaking out of this piece. I'm turning up my music. I'm doing these different things to me, it was an expression of I'm going to be free.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to and even if I got to convince myself first and then act it, I'm going to be free. What caused you to write that deeply, man?
Where was I? I gotta go back and look. What season was I in? I think it was just one of those days where, we all have that long work week
Yeah.
and all those thoughts of just like wanting more, feeling like no matter how hard you work, things don't seem to change.
Yeah.
And so I just tapped into that.
That's what it felt like.
That's all.
This felt like you caught me just before I totally lost it. Because there's some words in there.
You caught me just before I'm about to whoop.
Just before you caught me, you caught me like Ice Cube leaving NWA when I found out I got jacked up and I hooked up with the Bomb Squad and did this album.
Oh,
and instead of hurting
goodness.
anybody, I put some lyrics down. Okay, I felt like it was righteous. It was righteous. I don't want to call it righteous anger, but it was, yeah, man. It was righteous dissatisfaction. And talking about how you're going to get to satisfaction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah. An interesting fact, I have to say this. So while I wrote that song, I was going through a leadership course at work.
Yeah.
It was voluntary based. Like it wasn't a requirement. It's something I wanted to do to be a better leader.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot from it. And we had a final project, and it was basically to wrap up leadership versus leader.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, anybody that's listening or watching, leadership is a structure based on rank and titles and bureaucracy.
In the Army?
No, just organizations.
You think so?
I know so. After this course,
explain more.
leadership.
Okay. Say more.
Right?
We're going to talk about this one over dinner. We ain't going to have enough time to finish this show.
Being a leader is the intangibles.
Yeah.
Are the things that you're not required to do. Can you connect with people? Can you be the example when you don't have the title?
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean?
200% agree.
Leadership is a structure.
200% agree.
And being a leader is, it has to be morphed. It's not something you could just open a book and learn to be a leader. You can look at remnants of a good leader, right, to structure your leadership off of principles.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, we had to do a final project of expression of what does leadership mean to you after this whole, I think it was 10-week course.
Yeah.
And so I did a PowerPoint presentation, all that good stuff, but then I performed am I alone because a lot of leaders feel lonely.
Got it.
And I tied it in.
Yeah.
And because of that, the kernel of that course was changing command, basically passing his command over to the next person. Wanted me to perform that at his change of command.
Oh, wow.
That was the first time rap had been performed at a change of command on the bass.
Yes. And yeah, 200% leadership can be lonely, right? Because someone has to be the place where the buck stops.
Yeah.
Someone has to have that ultimate level of accountability, right? The only thing I want you to clarify is when you say it's a structure, what do you mean by it's a structure? Say more.
So like ranks.
Yep.
Right? So when I say structure, I'm just talking about really just a combination of command and chain.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No matter what organization, not just military.
Just the org chart. Just
Yes.
the But do you see leadership not being able to happen absent structure?
Say it again.
Do you think leadership cannot happen absent org structure?
I think leadership
And titles?
I think that is necessary for the order of operations.
There you go. All right, we're on the same page. I just wanted to clarify. Yeah. Because I do think sometimes people feel like they're not a leader unless they see themselves in a certain box on the org chart. Or unless they have a certain title, or unless they have an office. And leadership is the ability to get people to desire to follow you. And your title, your role, your office, you can do carrot and stick leadership.
Yeah.
You can make people do things because you have it, or you can bait incentives, but that's not sustainable for long-term leadership. People have to want to follow you.
Yeah. And if you have, and I'm not trying to put a dark cloud over the word leadership. I'm just trying to make a fine line difference between the perception of what we think it is versus what it really is. And especially in corporate America.
Yeah.
Because I feel like most places, middle class, lower class, we kind of gel them together.
Yes.
Like we can kind of tell.
I agree.
But the higher you go up being in an organization like I am,
Yeah.
there is a difference. Like there's a lot
I
of
got
leaders that aren't in leadership.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's unfortunate, but that's because leadership is based on titles, structures, prerequisites.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Being a leader is just being who you are all the time.
Right.
Consistency.
Yep.
Hard work, the things that don't go on paper or don't really mean much on paper to certain people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is, man, you got to come back so we can finish this, because you're drawing out some things that they are fine lines of demarcation, but they're so meaningful. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These lines of demarcation they seem really fine and like, oh, why do it? The implications of them are huge, right? So to the point where you're talking about, it's almost like looking at, it's like, here's what a car is meant to do.
Yeah.
It's meant to be transportation. If someone goes and uses the car as a weapon, that's wrong. You got a 10,000 ton or whatever it is,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, vehicle, and somebody's just ramming into people. I say that to say any role, title, office can be misused.
Yeah.
And then leadership takes on this look of being bad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Versus where you have places where, leaders are living into it for real.
Yeah.
Right? Like you ever been in a company where you can tell that guy must have the corner office?
Yeah.
Right? Versus you going to other places and you're not totally sure.
Yeah.
Right? You walk in the lunchroom, and the CEO could be sitting at a table somewhere and you're not, he's comfortable. He or she is comfortable in themselves.
Yeah.
Just to be with everyone.
Yeah.
Right? And just be a part of the group. And when it's his time to make something happen, right? He can, without having to say, y'all, he's just able to say, hey, y'all, it's time to get after it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, man, that's good, bro. That's good. Good observation. So with all that being said, leader. So all right, so Am I Alone was that one. Talk about Happy. Because, when I listen to the chorus of Happy, say the chorus for me real quick.
Oh, you talking about Live? You talking about Live?
Yeah, Live. I'm sorry, Live.
If you're happy and you know it, you know what to do. If you're happy and you know it, they can't take from you. If you're happy and you know it, life's a better view. Life is.
I remember hearing that and going, well, of course it's a better view if you're happy. Of course. So then I kept listening to the lyrics. I'm like, okay, where was your head writing that? Was your head in a place of, I've got to, again, minister to myself? Or I've got to help people around me realize that there is the possibility of being happy? Where was your head?
It's the same thing with Am I Alone, Step on the Embers. So Am I Alone is the moon and that song is the sun. You get what I mean? So it's the same type of conversation with a different mood on it.
Got it.
So it's like, it's a reminder to myself of being free. And you can find happiness. Obviously this is not talking in the context of Jesus and faith and stuff like that, right? Because that's joy.
That's joy.
We're talking about emotional, phases that we go through as humans, and that's kind of what this was about.
Yep.
And I was just like, man, you know what? Like, I know there's that side of me where I'm very reserved, I'm very closed off. It can get dark sometimes, but then there's another side of me. I'm happy, man. Like, I'm joyful. I'm always jumping around, joking. I said, well, I need to write that out too, so people can see that, hey, these are seasons. You know what I mean? You don't have to be pigeonholed to one emotion for your whole life.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like in the song, I'm just like, I went from being grim to aiming at the rim, okay? I spent some time with him away from them and found my way. It's like this, I'm talking about the things that I struggle with. It's like I went from being grim to aiming at my goals.
Yeah. I
spent some time with the Lord away from the people so I can find my way. You know what I mean? And so everything I say in that song is literal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? About things that I was going through.
Yeah.
Once again, somebody gonna relate to something.
Absolutely. To that point of being away from people, I've noticed on some of your social channels, you've kind of pulled back.
Yeah.
Not kind of pulled back. You pull back a lot.
Yep.
That was intentional.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was intentional. Because it's like now, I have to shout her out because this girl has been my social media manager since she was a freshman in college. And she's been rocking with me ever since. So, we shoot the content. Eli, my boy Eli, he's editing and, Joshua Production Studios did the filming for the most recent stuff. But anyway, we just said, look, we are going to continue to be consistent with content. That's it.
Yeah.
I'll post on my story things I want people to see, whatever. But far as trying to conquer the algorithm, trying to grow this following, and I started to think also from a business perspective, what's the return on that? Like, okay, you spend this money on ads and stuff. Yeah, your numbers look good.
Right.
But what is that turning into?
Yeah.
Am I planning to go on tour?
Right.
Am I planning to convert that over to what?
And
And then I just pulled back. It's like, yo, this is where people usually get caught up.
Right.
I won't get caught up. And
Right.
so I was like, look, I have a following. I want to respect my following.
Right.
I'm going to continue to give them music and content.
Yep.
And if the algorithm choose not to show it, that's not on me. But when you go to my profile, you can see that I've been consistent.
Yes. Yes. I feel like I need to insert a thing here so people also understand. So you have a degree in music business, or have taught music business.
I've taught some music business. I have a certificate from NYU in music business.
There you go.
So just a course.
So that's important for people to understand, because some of the decisions you make, I feel, are informed, not just watching what's happening in culture, but informed by formal studies.
Yeah.
Right. And so to that point, and your earlier point about, building the business and so on and so forth, where do you see yourself in 3 years?
Yeah.
Just to remind you, you'll be married for 13 years at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I got to call on you when we start getting close. Hey, Trey, man, what year? No, yeah, man, 3 years. Moved into a house. That's a big goal for me.
Where are you now?
I'm in an apartment.
Okay.
Maryland is very expensive.
Bro, I've been down there.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, Lord.
You sneeze, you in debt.
Yes, Lord.
You know what I mean?
Maryland's no joke.
Yeah, man.
You're going to pay to be close to them crabs.
Bro, I'm so we just kind of been laying low, tackling some debt. Just got a little bit left. But, yeah, we're definitely going to try and make that transition within the next 3 years. Right. Looking at 2. Having my own in-home studio. Kind of like big as this, what you have here, or maybe a little bigger in the basement or something, so I can be self-sufficient, don't have to rely on anybody. And then from the music standpoint, I really want to be at least part-time in synchronization, music synchronization. And for those of you that may not know,
please express.
Let me explain.
Yeah,
that's basically when your music gets used in some type of digital or media format. Right, so that's syncing your music with some type of product, whether that's a commercial, video game, movie, television show, ad, things like that. So, and I realized because I've been doing thematic music at work, I've been expressing more of my emotions and a lot of universal ideas through my expression. I'm like, man, you know what? I think I would be very good at sync, because the songwriting I've been doing that. That's not the hard part. Now it's like, how do you write specifically for somebody else's thing?
Which is what the Army kind of required you to do.
Yes.
Prior to that, you could do it when you quote unquote feel like it.
Yeah.
Now you're, hey, Lamar, we need this in 2 weeks.
Yep. And so, which I like. I like deadlines. I love deadlines because it's a challenge.
Matter of fact, I just called you Lamar. Like, what do they call you?
No, they call me, Lamar as well.
Okay.
Like formally it's, Staff Sergeant Riddick, when we're out in public and stuff like that. But like, your
Staff Sergeant Riddick,
your coworkers and stuff like that, it's Lamar.
Okay.
Lamar.
All right, I'm just checking.
Yeah, when I'm outside of uniform, it's
I wasn't gonna call you. I just wanted to know.
Call me
I'm not. Yeah. I just wanted to know.
But yeah, man, doing sync music and providing opportunity for others. That's a big thing for me. How can I employ somebody? How can I get somebody else an opportunity based on what I've been giving myself?
Why sync though? Talk about the because again, I just want to connect it to something you started with. You want to build something sustainable for your family. Yeah. Sync is a path to that for you?
Yes, it is. And so I won't get into too many details about the monetary regimen of what it looks like and the scale and all that. But if you do enough, if you are consistent enough, you can live off of synchronization. Because what happens is you get paid an upfront fee for the publishing side and the master recording, right? So that's the actual audio file as well as the underlining intellectual property. There we go. And so you get paid for that. And you get back in royalties for every time that broadcast, that show, that ad, that whatever is streamed or consumed.
Right.
That's reported quarterly, and you get paid as long as that's out there. So it's like, yeah.
It's like stacking, building layers of income stream, or building layers within that income stream.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the artists who are coming up that say, okay, because you've got a different journey than most, man. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You've got the educational piece, and not to say that people haven't gone and got education, but I don't think that's what's what I'm looking for. I don't think that's the normal course, right? To take a course and get certifications, no pun intended. Obviously, the artistry thing in the Army, again, is a whole nother thing, because the exposure that it brings to you, and the I think, income and such, to be in a place where they're paying you to do this stuff, right, is different as well. So you get a little bit of, I don't want to call it cushion, but you get a little bit of room to operate in your gift, right? For those who don't have those things, if you had not done this, right, knowing what you know otherwise, what's your advice to the young upstart artist?
I'm gonna go back to what I always say. You have to follow the Lord, because He's gonna make the path clear. Everyone's journey will look different. I had no clue, what I mean?
Right.
Like, I was planning to just do this from the ground up.
Right.
I was starting my own events in Morgantown, West Virginia, started my own clothing brand. I was just going to build my own business and ministry wherever God had me. And that was my goal. I'm going to maximize and utilize all the resources around me that God has given me, and see if He wants me to have more.
Right.
And that's what I did. And I'm telling you right now, I was in Morgantown, West Virginia. I love Morgantown. It was great to us, but it's a small town outside of the university. Not many resources for rap.
Gotcha.
I had to create opportunity to show my gift. And knowing that God took that from me, from Windfall, North Carolina as a little kid in the sticks, to Morgantown, West Virginia in the hills, to national television, to traveling the world and seeing countries I never thought I'd see. He can do it for you. I'm telling you right now. So if you're listening, you just have to trust Him. Don't trust the process. Trust what God says. You know what I mean? That's first and foremost. Get your life right. Get your life right before you get the mic right. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Get your life right. After that point, educate yourself. Don't be afraid of education. It's definitely helped me and guided me. I went to school with Bethune-Cookman, music recording degree. I was recording my own music most of my career. Music business during COVID. Took advantage, learn about publishing, learn about these things. And then just seek opportunity. Make opportunity, create your own opportunity, and be consistent in your craft. That's it. It's no magic pill. I don't have any magic formula of business advice, of investments and all this stuff. Anybody that knows me just knows that I did the work. I was never the best. I just work hard and trust God. That's it.
Although, you say you weren't the best. I mean, you did win the plug at the Elevation Conference in 2023.
That was surprising.
So I mean, I was there, bro. So I mean,
man, I totally forgot you were. I forgot that whole situation.
Yes, brother. And there was, there was some songs.
There,
bro. Clifford Gray was there. I mean, that was a tight one.
Yes,
that was a tight one, bro. You pulled it out. Matter of fact, Clifford Gray was there. Not T-Strike. Somebody else was there. There were a couple people, man, that were there. So
Katrina.
Yes.
Yep, she's popping off.
Yes.
Yes. Oh man.
I'm thinking of the brother Brandon manages. I can't think of his name right now, from DC, but he had a nice
Ray.
Yes. Ray. Yep. Ray Duggar.
Yep.
So I mean, you were in a nice class, bro.
Yeah, man.
And pulled it out. So
man.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, man. Wish you the best continually, bro. I know your ministry is going to continue to flourish. With the role you're in, how long must you stay in the Army?
Well, contracts are different for everyone, but I'm coming up on my renewal period.
Okay.
And so, I'll be praying on that, see what God wants me to do.
Yeah.
And it's not a mystery, like anybody listening. The way I've always operated with any job, I will stay as long as God is calling me.
I know that's right.
And I won't leave until He tells me.
I know that's right, bro.
That's it.
Yeah.
Contentment is the best friend of discipline, you know, because I'm just like, if you don't look for a reason to leave and an excuse to stay.
Contentment is the best friend of discipline. That's a quote. I love that. Contentment is the best friend. Well, no, I love that because I'm in the season. We just had a post on Holy Culture today, and like, what are you praying for? I'm like, your boy Trig is praying for patience. Like, I'm in this season of praying for patience for myself.
Yeah.
So I love that. That lands really well, bro.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that lands really well.
Glory to God, bro.
Yeah. All right, brother. Tell people where they can reach you. Tell people, you know, are you going to use your same name in sync, or are you going to come up with some super sync name, or would you?
I thought about that.
Because I see people do that.
Yeah, which it helps because like if you don't, now certain people do it for different reasons because they doing some trifling music on the side and they want nobody to know.
Not Christian hip hop artists.
Well, hey.
No, I'm just.
I've heard some stories,
yeah.
But I know for me specifically, it's more so just to give yourself a new world, and it's just like a fresh perspective in a new industry
and a profile that is explicitly for that lane.
Yeah,
you think that's a part of it?
Yeah, I haven't made a decision yet.
Okay,
because you know I'm not ashamed of who I am or what I do.
Yeah.
And if anybody got questions, you can email me or DM me. Like,
yeah.
I don't care. But anyway, man, like. First of all, thanks Holy Culture, Trig, everyone, the team for having me. I love this place, man.
Of course.
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Lamar Riddick Music, and that's Lamar like Kendrick Lamar, Riddick like the movie, and music. Email me, info@lamarriddickmusic.com.
That's what's up, brother.
Yeah.
Y'all heard it here first. Lamar Riddick, the multi-talented, the overseas flyer, international, about to be sync master. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, bro.
All right, y'all. Until next time, be blessed.